Welcome everyone. Happy International Yoga Day 2019. And thank you for joining me for this 23-minute practice today, a vinyasa flow practice that will focus on Natarajasana, or King Dancer's pose. And in King Dancer's pose, it's a pose where we have to open the front chain of the body while having the arms go overhead. So what we're going to focus on is stretching out through the shoulders and lats, and also stretching out through the hip flexors and psoas, and just creating a lot of freedom in the whole front chain of the body. And for me, this pose is something that used to come really easily to me, and a couple of years ago I hurt my lower back. I was going to crack my back before I was falling asleep, and I went just a little bit too far. And after that, my back bend practice was quite limited. I went to PT for a couple of years to nurse that. And so this pose is now very humbling to me because it's a pose that I can't do now like I used to before. But that's what it's all about, is coming back to our mat, starting again from where we are in acceptance and going forward from there to create something new and what we want to see. And you'll also notice that in this practice it might feel at times a little quick or a little bit fast, especially if some of the poses feel a little bit new to you. So what I recommend in this practice is just to have a nice, consistent, steady breath, consistent focus by setting your drishti, and a mindset of just not rushing, of just taking everything as it comes, moving steadily. And also I invite you to take this practice as often as you like, so that you'll find that you have a different experience in this practice over time. So once again, get 2 blocks. Grab a strap. If you don't have blocks, not that big of a deal. You can make do without them, but it'll just be helpful. And if you don't have a strap, grab a belt or perhaps a hand towel that you can kind of hook around your foot that we'll be doing for King Dancer. So please leave me any comments after the video. I'd love to hear how this went for you, and please feel free to share it with other people. Again, happy International Yoga Day 2019. Namaste. Start by coming into a seated position, hero's pose, with your knees touching and sitting back to your heels or onto a block or any other comfortable seated position to take a few breaths. And then start to reach for your blocks, and you're going to make your way into a puppy pose using your blocks. So stack your hips over top of your knees. Reach your arms forward, and instead of having your arms straight to the ground, you'll bring your elbows or the low part of your triceps to the blocks. Extending your arms forward so that your arms are going overhead. Now your elbows are bent, and your fingertips go straight up to the sky in a prayer position with your hands. You can have your toes pointed back or curl them under. Sometimes that creates a little bit more stability. Breathe here as you create this lengthening to the upper back and to the shoulders. Then start to come on out of this, pressing up and moving your blocks off to the side. And from there, start to extend your arms forward, downward facing dog. And move around a bit in your downward dog. You can pedal your legs to awaken your body, awaken your joints. Just make room for deep breaths. Then take your right leg up to the sky. On your inhale and exhale, step your right foot to your hands, lower your back knee, crescent moon with your arms up. Now bend your right arm so that you go into a tricep stretch, holding your right elbow with your left hand. Make sure to bring your right arm bone close towards your right ear, an option to slightly lean back to prepare your spine for the back bend that we're doing today. And then release that, drop your hands to the ground, step straight back into downward facing dog. Take your left leg up as you inhale. Step your left foot forward to your hands, lower your back knee. Inhale up to crescent moon pose. Bend your left elbow for a tricep stretch on the other side, holding your elbow with your right hand. And keep your left arm bone close towards your ear. Inhale to lengthen your spine, slightly go backward if you like to prepare your back for the back bend. Release out of that, hands to the ground, step back, downward facing dog. Take your right leg up to the sky, bend your knee, turn your hip out to the side. And if you like, make your left hand a tented hand so that you can square off your shoulders more. Straighten your right leg, step your right foot to your hands, drop your back knee. Inhale, both arms up, crescent moon, but this time turn your palms out to face the sides of the room, and then cross your arms so that your palms now touch overhead with your wrists and arms in a rotation. Hug your arms to your ears, start to lean back slightly, taking a deep breath here as you keep the length with the bend. And then hands down to the ground, step straight into downward facing dog. Take your left leg up to the sky, bend your knee, turn your hips open. And again, you can tent your fingertips, this time on your right hand, to keep your shoulders a bit square as you rotate. Straighten your left leg, step your foot all the way to your hands, drop your knee, inhale, crescent moon. Turn your palms out to the sides and cross your hands. And if you can remember which hand was in front or behind last time, then do the other side. Lift your chest as you inhale, hug your arm bones towards your ears. Lean back. And then release that. Drop your hands to the ground, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank pose. Exhale, slowly lower down to the floor and take your hands back behind you for locust pose. Hug your legs in towards each other. Lift everything high up and away from the floor, breathing in. Steady breath. And then release that. Drop down to the ground, downward facing dog, press back. Take your right leg up to the sky again. Bring your knee towards your nose and then step forward to your hands. Keep your back leg straight, crescent lunge. Inhale to get there. Exhale, hands at chest center. Lean over your front leg. Prayer twist to the right wall. Press your hands together a lot and really focus on the twisting action here as preparation for your spine. You can split your arms if you like. Keep your right shoulder going back. Lower your hands down to the ground and drop your back knee. We're going to go into Ardha Virasana, so half hero's pose. Sitting back onto the floor or grab a block, which I prefer for myself. Keep your right knee bent so that your right foot is on the floor. Scoop your hips underneath so your tailbone is tucked, and you can stay up on your hands if you like, or you can start to lower back to your forearms. A couple of different options again. Your hips can be onto a block, onto the floor, on your hands or on your forearms. Take a breath here. Start to press up and out of this mindfully, carefully. Move the block out of the way if you're on it. Lean forward so that you can step back, downward facing dog. Take your left leg up to the sky, bring your nose towards your knee, and then step forward to your hands. Crescent lunge pose, arms come up. Bring your hands at chest center. Inhale to lean forward. Exhale to prayer twist. And again, you can keep your hands here or split your arms open if that facilitates a nice deep twist for you on this side. Bring your eyes to the sky, to your top hand. And then release your hands down to the ground, Ardha Virasana, half hero's pose, by starting to lean back, sitting to the inside of your right foot or onto a block. Keep your left knee bent with your foot to the floor and start to lean back. Now, one of the best ways to get the most out of your hip flexor or psoas stretch on your right side here is to also kind of clench your right glute muscle, as if you're gripping that muscle and contracting it. Take a breath. Feel free to let your head drop back if you're on your forearms and that feels good for you. Gently, mindfully, start to come on up, moving nice and steady, no rush through your movements. Taking your time to get back into downward facing dog. Take your right leg up to the sky. Gently and lightly step to your hands, Virabhadrasana 2. Set your drishti with your eyes. Create steadiness in your mind. Reverse your warrior, but this time you're going to take your hand to the side of your head instead of keeping it straight. And as you do that, press your head into your hand to get more length in the side of your waist. Release that. Drop your hands down to the ground. And then you're going to start to step back towards a plank and then lower your knee to the floor, particularly your right knee, to roll open to modified side plank with your left leg up. Now reach back for Chapasana variation on this side. It's best to have your bottom foot angling back to the side of your mat for more balance. Kick your foot behind you and then gently release. Pressing back towards a three-legged down dog, right leg high to the sky. Step your right foot to your hands. And you're going to head into a lizard lunge or a dragon's lunge, where your right foot's to the outside of your mat, and then reach back for a quadricep stretch at the same time. Holding your left ankle with your right hand or using your strap here to make the connection between your hand and your foot. Turn your chest open to the side of the room. Keeping your breath steady and fluid, start to transition out of that as you press up into down dog, and then right leg to the sky again. Bend your knee, turn your hips just like before, but this time wild thing. Flip over so that your left leg is straight and your right ball of your foot is to the floor as you reach back into a heart-opening back bend. Press up and out of your bottom shoulder. Use your core to flip back to downward facing dog. Let's do that on the other side. Left leg comes up. Gently step your foot to your hands. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2 pose. Set your drishti. Turn your left palm up. Reverse your warrior, taking your left palm to the outside or the side of your right head. Lean back as you press your head to your hand to self-assist into a side bend. Release that. Gently bring your hands down to the floor and step your left foot back. And then drop your left knee down to the ground for this modified side plank with your left leg like a kickstand to keep you from falling. Take your right leg high to the ceiling. Stay here, or if you can reach, take your right hand back for Chapasana variation, going to your ankle or your outer foot. Kick behind you as you press your chest in the opposite direction. Gently release that without snapping out. Turn back down to face your mat into plank pose. Lift up into downward dog, left leg high to the sky, and then step your left foot back to your hands. Come into a lizard lunge with your left foot to the outer edge of your mat, or you can turn your left toes more towards 10 o'clock. You're going to reach back with your left hand to hold on to the outer edge of your right foot. Open your chest to the side. And if you want a little more, you can start to bend your top elbow to bring your foot closer to your glute. And remember, you can always use a strap here to hold your foot. Gently release that pose. Stepping back towards a downward facing dog again. Left leg high to the sky, bend your knee, turn your hips, mindfully flip over into wild thing. Focusing on each movement that you make to open your chest, open the front chain of your body. Paying attention to how you move, to where you place your body. Flip back, downward facing dog. Breathe steadily. Fluid in-breath and fluid out-breath. Bend your knees, step or jump to the front of your mat, come into a half lift, and then forward fold. And take yourself all the way up to Urdhva Hastasana, an upward reach with your arms. Draw your hands at chest center, Anjali Mudra. Come into dancer's pose on your right side. Right hand comes back to your right foot. Left arm reaches up. Kick your foot through your hand as you lean forward. And keep your left arm as high as you can up towards your left ear. Specifically, bend your left elbow, place your hand behind your head so that you can get a big reach back of your arm, or reach so far so that your wrist is on the back of your head. And then release that slowly, gently, mindfully place your foot to the ground. Switch other side. Right arm comes up, left hand back to the inside of your left foot. Kick back into your dancer's pose. Keep your chest lifted and take your right hand back. Start to bend your right elbow. Get it far back onto the back of your head. Or if you can, as so far to reach your wrist to the back of your head. Preparing your shoulder for the next pose. And then release out of that. Take a moment to breathe. To feel what you've created so far in your body, mind, through your practice. And then reach for your strap. And we're going to go into King Dancer's pose, Natarajasana, by taking your strap around the front of your right foot. Once you have that and you're steady with your balance, take your strap in just your right hand. Give yourself enough slack. Take your left hand up and around and lower than your right hand. So both hands are onto the strap and kick up. Walk one hand lower than the next and kick up. You're going to keep repeating that. Walking one hand lower than the next and kicking your foot up to the sky rather than pulling it. And keep going or hold where you are for the next couple of breaths. Moving steadily, breathing evenly. Gently slide out of that as to not snap out of the pose. Take a breath. And then start to come into the other side. Put the strap around your left foot. Hold the strap in just your left hand. Bend your left elbow, take your arm up and overhead so you're kind of in a half version of King Dancer. And then take your right hand back. And once again, take one hand slowly past the other hand. Just walking, making your way down towards your foot. And at the same time, kick your foot up into the air. Breathe as you move. Set your drishti to a point. Press your wrist to the sky. Gently and slowly come on out of that. Put your strap down next to you. Stand in mountain pose, Tadasana, taking in all that you've just done. Bring your hands to chest center to head into tree pose with your right leg up. Just taking a nice neutral spine after that back bend. You can keep your hands here, take them wherever you like. Specifically, I'm taking mine into goalpost arms with my palms facing in for the moment to stretch across the front of my chest. Gently release that side, drop your right leg. Inhale your arms up to the ceiling. Exhale your hands back to chest center. Come to the other side, Vrikshasana, tree pose. Keep your hands here or anywhere that you'd like to take them for the next couple of breaths. Just focusing on a nice neutral spine. Pull the low pit of your belly in and up. Expand and lengthen your back up towards the ceiling. Take another breath. And gently release out of that pose, stepping towards the front of your yoga mat. Inhale, sweep up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Malasana, deep squat. Take your feet wide. Once again, keeping a nice long spine. Press your inner arms, your elbows to the insides of your legs, and draw your chest up towards your thumbs. We're going to start to slow down our practice now. Start by taking your hands behind you to slowly assist you to get to a seated position onto the floor. Extend your legs straight out and then cross your left leg over top for Ardha Matsyendrasana, a seated twist. Hook your right arm around your left leg and bring your left hand behind you to the floor or to the block. You can also take your right arm to hook over your left leg rather than wrapping it. Just kind of choose the intensity of your twist here. Focus on a long spine from your sacrum, the bottom of your back, up through the crown of your head, and twisting your chest to the back wall. Gently release out of that. Have both legs come back to the mat. And cross your right foot over top of your left thigh. Inhale to lengthen, lift your arm. Exhale to rotate backward, taking the setup that you'd like to on this side. Your back hand to the block or the floor, and your front arm wrapping around your leg or crossing over top. Notice your breath and start to make your breath even and slow so that each breath is consistent. Start to come on out of that. Bring your feet together, keeping the consistent breath into Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. As the soles of your feet touch, just start to lean forward one breath at a time. Inhale to maintain the length. Exhale to hinge at your hips. Fold over your legs. Take deep breaths as if you can breathe into your back body. Start to lift all the way up. And then find a block so that you can sit onto a block. If you don't have one, feel free to just sit right onto the ground into cross legs or to hero's pose. I'm going to do a little side body movement. So take your left hand down, right arm overhead, and then you're going to start to sweep your right arm forward and down and over to the right, and then your left arm forward and over to the right and up into a side stretch. Go to the other side, left arm forward and down and over to the left, right arm follows, side stretch. Keep doing that a couple times. You can pick up the pace a bit. Just freeing up your back muscles after all that awesome back bending for Natarajasana. Creating freedom, neutrality, and openness in your body, in your mind. And start to finish up those rotations and bring yourself to center. Arms up overhead as you inhale. Exhale, bring your hands down to chest center. And then lower your hands to your knees, to your thighs, into an easy seat. Keep your practice in your body by maintaining a long spine all the way through the back of your skull. Relax any grip in your fingers, in your jaw, in your eyes. And let your breath become slow and effortless. Take in all the good of your practice. And just breathe and be easy here. Bring your hands to chest center and Jali Mudra. Acknowledge yourself for your practice this morning, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you are. Thumbs at forehead center, and namaste. Thank you for joining me.